Thank you very much. Thank you. Welcome to Two for Tonight from L'Auberge Chez François. I'm Jacques Haeringer. Today, we are celebrating the ultimate culinary treat, a truffle treat, a truffle tasting for that special someone. This will show he or she that they are the ultimate person in your life. And this year, instead of giving them another set of diamond cufflinks or earrings, I mean, they have so many already. Why not give them the black diamonds of culinary cooking of France, black truffles? They are so aromatic and delicious, you're going to just show that person how much you care. Our menu is a classic truffle in puff pastry. The second is a Dover sole. How can I call it Dover? That's the Brits. La sole de la Manche with truffles. And the final, the most unusual dessert you've probably tasted in a long time, but you're going to love it, is truffle ice cream. It's unusual. It's special, just like that person sitting next to you. It's unique in all the world. All right. Our first dish is truffle in puff pastry. This was a specialty of the house when I worked in Paris at La Rôtisserie Périgourdine. You know, it's been many years ago. Don't ask me how long. But the aroma of the truffle still lingers. It's just a wonderful place to work because we chop just tons and tons of truffles. And the first thing we need are truffles. That elusive and mysterious fungus that it grows under oak trees. And the theory is that there's a symbiotic relationship between the oak tree and the truffle. The oak tree nourishes the truffle, and obviously the truffle does something for the oak tree, but we're not sure what it is. It's like that person sitting next to you. Why exactly, if you had to explain it, are you in love with them? You just are. Right? And this, it's inexplicable, it's mysterious. And they've been trying for centuries to explain what truffles are, what they're about, why do they grow. The ancients used to think that it was lightning struck the earth and therefore truffles grew, because often around the truffles, the vegetation, there's no vegetation, there's just rings. So they're very, very mysterious. They're considered the world's #1 aphrodisiac, and I want all of you to try this and report back. We're going to be sending out a questionnaire. Now, and listen, these do cost a little something. This is a pound of truffles. It costs you about $1,200 retail. But fortunately, you only need a couple of ounces for each of these recipes, and we are going to be happy to give you information on financing. Truffles, since they're so expensive, the French, I mean, nobody's perfect, we don't hold it against them, will send you their truffles, and there's usually a fair amount of dirt in it, because at $1,200 a pound, you want those truffles to weigh just as much as possible. So we rinse them off. They're never going to let me back in Paris now. That's it. We want to wash them off, rinse them, and they're usually brushed, and then they're normally peeled. It's not absolutely necessary, so I'm going to take a sharp knife and just peel off the outer skin, but we're going to use it because at $1,200 a pound, we're not throwing anything away here. All right? So we peel the outside of the truffle, and we're going to take actually the truffle peelings here, and we're going to chop them up, if I have a knife, and we're going to actually use that in the stuffing. Nothing wrong with that as long as they're well washed and brushed. And there are fancy cutters out there for truffles that you can find on the market. So I'm going to chop the truffle peelings, and I'm going to put them in a small bowl here. And set that over here, and I'll put this back over on this side. A truffle should be black to dark brown, sometimes with veins in them on the inside. Should you happen to come across one that is very light brown, that's a summer truffle. The best truffles in the world, of course, come from France, the black ones, the Périgord truffle, southwest France. There are some in Italy, there are some in Spain, and the Italians, of course, have the white truffle also, which is even more expensive, but it's slightly different. There are truffles all over the planet. The problem is that most of them don't have a nice scent to them. There's truffles from China, truffles from Oregon, but they don't have that. The whole room, when you cook a truffle, will be filled with that aroma. It's just fantastic. So we have 2 peeled 1-ounce truffles, and then I'm going to make the truffle and puff pastry, for which we need a little puff pastry. Right here. Every speck of truffle we're going to use. I'm going to cut 2 rings of puff pastry for the bottoms here. And then I'm going to cut 2 larger rings, about 5-inch rings of dough. And you can certainly buy your puff pastry. Just make sure you get an all-butter puff pastry. There are some actually some good ones on the market here.
Is there a certain time of the year to buy the truffles?
Truffles are in season between November and March. The best ones are right around the holidays, the most aromatic flavor. But now you can get them year-round. They flash freeze them. I mean, don't sigh too much. They really taste very good. I think you lose a little bit in the texture. The texture might be a little bit not quite as firm, but the aroma is there. And maybe it's a safer thing to do because you have to know how to deal with a truffle. When a truffle comes in, it has to be cooked. It has to be frozen or cooked fairly rapidly. So you have to deal with the truffle or it'll become too ripe. It'll be overripe. There's just a certain point when it's the best. And normally the frozen ones are frozen at the peak of perfection. All right, let me do this here. We are going to take the puff dough and set it aside, and then I'm going to make a stuffing to put around the truffles. This is the classic truffe in puff pastry. Now I'm going to take 1 chicken breast and put it into my Cuisinart. And then I'm going to take foie gras, which Casanova tells us is the ultimate prélude d'amour. This is fatted duck liver. It is absolutely delicious. And no meal around the holidays in France would be considered complete. They might not always have truffles, but they try to. But they certainly always have foie gras. It's the holiday meal. Foie gras, truffles, a really, really good wine or set of wines. Listen, this is the one where you blow out all the stops. After all, it's for that special someone. It's for the holidays. They don't need any more diamond bracelets. They probably have dozens. All right, we're going to put that in there, and I'm just going to make They don't have dozens? Why not? I'm going to process. This only takes about 30 seconds. I'm going to process the stuffing. And then I'm going to put a little salt and pepper right here. The truffle peelings are going to go in there. I'm going to put a pinch of nutmeg. And then I'm going to, while it's running, get an egg ready to go here and put that in. Put the egg in first and let it process, and then I'm going to put, about a tablespoon of heavy whipping cream. My gosh, are we rationing the heavy whipping cream today? Let me just put in the right amount here. Everyone has a gallon at home, don't they? There we go, the heavy whipping cream. Put that over here. And that is your stuffing. Now you need to put this in the refrigerator and let it firm up because it's a little bit loose and you won't be able to enrobe the truffle with it. You can make it ahead of time, but not too far ahead. After all, there's raw chicken in there. Keep it cold, and you could do this whole really preparation ahead. You can make your stuffing, you can put your truffles in the puff pastry, but make sure you keep them cold and just take them from the refrigerator and bake them. All right, now I have some here that has been refrigerated. So what we're going to do is take a beaten egg. This is what you use to make the puff pastry adhere, stick together. We're going to take the beaten egg and coat the bottom part of the puff pastry, the bottom layer, if you will. We're going to put the truffles on them. Is anyone getting, it's going to fill the room. It's going to fill the room. We're going to put that there. We're going to take our stuffing, which is well chilled. And actually, we've made just a little bit more than we need here, but that will work out. And we're going to enrobe the truffle into this wonderful force meat of foie gras and chicken. Then we're going to cover the bottom layer with the puff pastry. And that's all there is to it. Prepare this ahead of time. I mean, keep your truffle display, of course. Strut that culinary stuff. Of course, I always keep a pound of truffles about, my dear. Naturally. All right. Then we are going to take it. It looks like a ménage à trois we have today. Whoops.
Enrobe before you disrobe?
Of course. But of course. You have to give lunch or dinner first.
Maybe.
All right. Now, let me clean up here. That's all there is to it. This is really not that difficult. What's intimidating is probably the price of the truffles.
Are truffles from Oregon as expensive as truffles from
No, the
France?
truffles from Oregon and China and all those other places are not nearly as expensive because they don't have, I don't want to badmouth Oregon or any place else, they do not have the flavor, the aroma, that mystical, magical aroma that just permeates the whole place. They look right. It's like me, I look right, but I don't have a French accent. Same problem with those truffles. I'm working on that. I'm going to take lessons for next year, I promise. All right, we are going to take our truffles for our ménage à trois and put them in the oven. All right, and we're going to bake them, as I say, about 375 degrees for about 20 minutes. Don't they look great?
Your menage a trois cut down to 2.
My ménage à trois. The censors, the public television censors again. You know, a guy can't have any fun these days. I'm French, it's okay. All right, now we're going to take our hot truffle in puff pastry with the wonderful foie gras stuffing, and then I'm going to serve it. It's not absolutely necessary, but the classic dish is served with the truffle sauce. We take some truffles, chop them up, reduce them in a little port wine, and then put a little beef stock. Delicious. Please, you see our website. We'll give you all that information on the sauce. Now we're just going to put a little bit of sauce around the truffle. And this is really what I do in the kitchen, is make sure the plates are clean when they come out. And voila, your truffle in puff pastry. They're going to love this dish. Thank you. Our second two for tonight holiday treat is sole de la Manche, Dover sole with truffles. And you know, there's an interesting proverb about truffles. It says, those who wish to remain virtuous should abstain. Now you know why I want to pound around all the time. In order to make the sole, we need a couple of fish. Robert, les poissons, s'il vous plaît. All right, here. Let me just grab that over here. Here we have a gray sole from Maine, a domestic sole. Delicious, you can use this. A lemon sole, also from Maine, and we have la sole de la Manche, from France. They're all perfectly suitable, naturally. Today we're going to have la sole de la Manche. It's a very firm texture, considered the ultimate flat fish. And they're flown over, come right in here to the airport several times a week, and you can get them just about year-round. Robert, thank you very much. We're going to fillet that sole. And right here, we're going to give approximately 3 fillets. Each fish has 4. We're going to put approximately 3 fillets per person is plenty to make this dish. Now, we also need another truffle. What a surprise. No, I'm not going to hand any out here. All right, we're going to do a julienne of truffles this time. I'm going to cut them into medallions. Here. And then I am going to cut them into a julienne. If you look, it's 2 points off. You must constantly gaze at that special someone, even while you're cutting. This is that once-a-year blowout dinner, folks. We're going to take the fillets of sole. I'm going to season. All we've done, here's one fillet of sole. All we've done is folded it over. Here, let me just show you how to do it. You have sort of a bright side here, and then a whiter side. We want to actually fold them this way. So the white side is up, and we're going to season them with a little bit of salt and pepper. I'm going to take the truffle julienne, get every bit of it, every bit of it. You know, just tell your kids that you can't send them to college because you have to prepare a truffle dinner. They'll understand. I mean, get a job, kiddo. All right. We're going to take a pan or a chafing dish, if you will, a dish, and put some butter. What's wrong with butter? Nothing. You have to have it for this dish. I mean, listen, if you're having truffles and cream and good wine, you got to have a little bit of butter, right? We'll put that in there. Oh, this is how we do it in the kitchen anyway, but don't tell anyone. We'll just mix it around that. We're going to take about half a teaspoon of shallots, finely chopped shallots, put it in there. That adds extra flavor. A little salt and pepper. And we're going to take our prepared sole fillet and put them in the pan. Cook them very, very quickly. You could prepare this ahead of time. Even up to this part, put them in the pan, have the butter and everything ready to go, have that in the refrigerator, and just pull it out like magic. And cook it, and just finish that sauce in front of that special someone. We don't want to spend 5 hours in the kitchen. Other things may ensue, if you can ever get through dinner here. All right. Let me crank this up. And we're going to put it on the fire, and we're going to take, ladies and gentlemen, this is a once or maybe twice a year ultimate meal. We're going to take the very best white Burgundy or a terrific California Chardonnay and use that to cook and to serve with the filet sole. All right, we're going to put about a cup or so in there. Crank this up, and I'm going to cook it for you in real time. It just really doesn't take very much time at all. While that is cooking, we need, or we want to, in this case, glaze. We want to make a glaçage because I want to put the sole, after it's cooked, finish the sauce, and put it under the broiler and brown it. Make a nice brown glaçage on top. So we're going to take one whole egg. We're making a mock hollandaise sauce here. In the kitchen, we always have some hollandaise ready to make a glaçage. A glaçage is a reduced sauce. It's a little whipped cream and a little hollandaise that you put under the broiler and brown. And these are almost there, almost ready. I'm going to turn that down. It just takes 1 minute. Now, I'm going to take the melted butter, about 1/4 of a stick. Is that enough for 2 people? Probably. And just whisk the warm butter into, not hot butter, but warm butter. We don't want to set it immediately here, into the egg. And then we're going to put that aside and come over here, and our sole fillets are ready. Now, how do you tell if they're cooked? I mean, here we do it second nature. At home, you may just want to, if it's springy to the touch, usually it's ready, or listen, cheat a little bit. Actually take a fork or a knife and just cut in a little bit on the side. You're going to cover it up with sauce anyway. This is how we do things in Washington. We cover it up. So you do the same thing at home. Hey, I watched all the hearings. I understand how to do this. Cut into the fish, and if it's translucent, just translucent all the way through, it's ready. So I'm going to take we're going to take 2 gratin dishes, or 2 copper dishes in this particular instance, and take the sole out, because we want to leave the juices inside. Right here, like so. Right. Now, we have our juices here. I'm going to take the truffle peelings, and I'm going to use a shiitake mushroom. I know my chef back in Paris used to use a regular white mushroom, and that will be perfect. So I'm going to take a julienne of shiitake mushroom, save the stem for the sauce because they're tough. You can't really eat those. Cut it into a julienne. And put that, this is how we do it in the kitchen, like that. put that in there. Put the truffles in there. Okay, and then we are going to reduce that cooking liquid. Reduce the wine and all the wonderful and nutritious juices that have come out of the sole till it's almost dry. And from there, I'm going to finish the sauce. This is just about reduced here. And what I'm going to do is take it off of the fire and take some heavy whipping cream, and I'm going to have my sauce ready. Let me do this first. Let me take the egg and just whisk it slowly now. And this is still warm, but if you do it slowly, you'll be fine. This is the base of your glaçage. Doesn't that smell great? I mean, you can smell it, right? Even in the bleachers back there. All right. And then I am going to take some heavy whipping cream, 40% butter fat. You know you want it. Just stir it into the sauce. That shiitake mushroom just enhances, in my opinion, the wonderful taste of the truffle. We better taste this to make sure it's good.
I can do that.
I see I have volunteers here. It's wonderful. A little more salt and pepper. And your sauce is ready to go. All we're going to do is put it, look at that, right over the sole. We want lots of sauce here, right? With the truffles in it, the cream, the eggs, the butter, all the good stuff on the planet. All right? Okay. And then I'm going to take it and put it on a sheet pan and put it under the broiler. And that's just going to take a couple of minutes, a broil, all the way on broil, and put it in there. Make sure you keep an eye on it. This goes very, very quickly. Keep an eye on it. You don't have time to have that glass of wine poured, that wonderful white burgundy ready, because this is going to come out very, very quickly. Takes a minute or two. All right, then we're going to put this on the plate. This is a dynamite. I mean, this is a blowout dish right here. And voila, Dover sole with truffles. This is the ultimate dish. And it's going to make it a very, very special holiday season. They're going to love it. Thank you very much. The dessert for the 2 for Tonight holiday treat is a most unusual combination. It's truffle ice cream. It's never going to supplant vanilla or Rocky Road, but it's unique. It is unique in all the world, just like that special someone sitting next to you, or the two special someones sitting next to you. All right, I'm going to take a cup and a half of milk, and we are going to just heat it up, bring it to a boil. This recipe is great because if you haven't any truffles, and shame on you if you don't, but this recipe, this formula works for all flavors of ice cream when you want to make a custard. Remember, it's called French vanilla, right? Right. It's a custard. So we're going to season it with honey. Try not to get too strong a honey. I'm going to take a cup and a half of milk. I'm going to take about 2/3 of a cup of honey. You could certainly use evaporated cane juice or sugar or another sweetener. All right. Mix that together. And I'm going to take a couple of ounces of nicely chopped truffles. And put that in there and just bring that to a boil. And now we're going to make our custard. I'm going to take 5 egg yolks and slowly pour the mixture. This should steep for about 10 minutes before you do it and cool down a little bit. And then we're going to slowly pour it into the 5 egg yolks. Not too quickly because we don't want it to set. All right. We are whisking this in there, and then I'm going to put this back in the pan, and I'm going to bring this back to just a low boil. Just when it starts to boil, you're making a classic custard here. It just takes a moment or two, but be very careful. You can scorch it easily. Once this comes just to a very light boil, take it off the flame and take your 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream. You think that's enough for 2? Probably. And pour it into your custard, and you have your basis for your truffle ice cream. Put this in your freezer, in your ice cream machine overnight, and the next day you're going to have the most unusual ice cream on the planet. And I just want to show it to you now. Robert, could you bring the ice cream, please? Now, naturally you have a few medallions of truffle that you're going to use to garnish the ice cream with. Be lavish. It's the holidays. Nothing exceeds like excess. We do not live in a subtle age. Robert, if you could serve that over there, please. Now.
Vive la truffe.
Vive la truffe, exactement. Let me give you a little bit more there. And voilà, la glace aux truffes.